Hello everyone, it's Shel C from PaperOcotilloStudio, and today I'm sharing with you another art journal page that I made in my small Dylusions journal while I was on a trip to Sedona, Arizona. I'm starting out with a blank page and I'm applying some collage fodder here. This is actually from an envelope that somebody sent me for Happy Mail, and it had spray inks on it, and they are water soluble, so I can see a little bit of the blue coming off as I'm applying the matte medium. This is a fluid matte medium from DecoArt, and I brought it because it's in a small container and so I could throw it easily into my travel bag. But um, it is sealing these inks as I go, but it's also smearing a little bit onto the paper, which I don't mind because I'm going to, do something with it anyway. But I thought it had a really cool design, and it's on kind of that yellow color, large envelope paper, so it's a little bit thick. I got everything stuck down, and then I have some different acrylic paints. This one is Lapis color from Dina Wakley Heavy Body Acrylics, and I'm just using my finger. The Dina Wakley paints that I have that I've been using extensively recently. These are actually probably my favorite paints. They're a heavy body paint in a 1 ounce squeeze bottle, so it has that little nozzle, so I can apply just a tiny bit of paint and then blend it with my finger, which I enjoy. And also, this really helps to control the amount of paint that I am using, because when I have a larger nozzle on paint, which some of the paints that I use are in large tubes, um, I tend to squeeze way too much paint out, and then I have extra and I have to scrape it onto my scratch papers to keep for collage. I mean, I don't waste it, but it's nice to be able to just apply a tiny little bit. Another thing that this little nozzle can do is actually write, kind of, make scribbles in writing, which I did. Circle some things and add some little scribbles with the lemon yellow one. Then this other paint that I'm using is the opaque white from DecoArt Tradition line. This is a new line of paints. Well, not brand new, but fairly new. Uh, that is a professional acrylic paint in the standard professional colors, and this would be the equivalent of titanium white, which is a very opaque color. So I'm using that with my finger as well, and they're also in some little 1 ounce bottles. I have a kit of all their classic colors, like 20 colors in a kit. So um, that's why they're in those small bottles. I think they come in a 2 ounce bottle otherwise, but these tiny little bottles are easy to travel with, and that's the reason that I threw them in, because they're just little bottles of paint. I don't need big giant stuff to carry when I'm trying to make a travel art kit. I don't want to have a ton of stuff. So I'm just applying and blending the paints. I want kind of a lighter blue. I use some darker blue, I'm blending it with the white and just using my fingers. Sometimes your fingers are the most handy tools that you could possibly have to do art with. They do a lot of things for you. So then I have this piece that was made during a session of the Art Joy of Sharing live stream show. We were showing how you could create little things out of your pieces and parts that you have laying on your desk or whatever, and keep those in your travel collage collection book to use at a later date when something is, you need to do something on the fly or you're traveling somewhere. And so I have those in part of my book to travel around, and there's a video about that, and I can put the link in the iCard for you, where we were talking about we both have situations where we're not home a whole lot, and we're in other places where you could sit and do art. So we wanted to have books that we could take with us in a travel kit to uh, do that with. I'm mixing some paint over here that I'm going to use. I wanted to make kind of a neutral color. Um, I've obviously got the yellow and blue going on here, and I like that, but I also wanted like maybe to throw in a neutral. So I was blending some, but I think maybe I changed my mind and just decided it was not a pretty color. I didn't want to use it. So I decided to use white instead. And this particular stencil is a hand cut. Well, I think she cut it on a machine, but it was sent to me by Bea Grobe, one of my friends in Switzerland. And I think she cut that on maybe one of those, those machines that cut stuff out. You can scan it. Not sure which one. And I guess here I'm using the neutral color with a different stencil that's kind of a lattice um, or an arabesque maybe shape, and just putting some of that in the background. I have my smaller stencils on a key ring, a screw key ring, and I can take them off or leave them on. Sometimes I just, like I just did, I leave them on to uh, not have to take them off, not have to unthread all of it and take them off, put them back on. I just leave them. So here I'm writing again with the nozzle. I'm kind of adding some floral shapes. Of course, I forgot my heat tool when I packed for this trip. So this stuff takes forever. When you write it on like that, it takes forever to dry. And this page had to sit out overnight, and then I think I even left it out an extra day just to let all that thicker paint dry because you get a more thick application. Then I took the lid off of my glue stick and used it as a mark making tool. Just, filling in the background, having fun, making an interesting background. Most of what I do is collage, so you don't see me do this kind of thing very often, but it's fun to just play and add paints and make marks and just do fun stuff. And the whole page, the whole design was based on this little piece that I have to apply to it. So the colors, everything was all inspired by that piece. There's nothing else to it. It's just making the blues and yellows. Blue and yellow are a gorgeous combination, I think. And then light blue. There I put some scribble stick on, and I'm blending it with a little bit of water on my finger just to make those circle marks more interesting. And then I put some of the yellow paint with my finger that's still on my palette. Just being fun and messing around. That's what art journaling is about. It's just getting out your book, playing and having fun and experimenting and developing your style, you know. So I think I might be finally getting fairly happy with my background. So now I need to work on my focal images. I decide that the flowers and things that are on this pre-made piece that I made earlier are the colors are too faded, and I need to pump them up a little bit. So I use some of that scribble stick, or I think I use scribble stick to color the center flower more yellow color to make it blend. This piece on the vertical piece on the background is actually gold, like metallic gold, which is hard to see in the video, of course, but you'll be able to kind of tell in the pictures at the end. And so I was wishing that I had some gold something to add to the page, but I didn't. I didn't bring any type of a metallic product with me at all, so I had no gold. I looked through my collection book and found some other pieces of paper that I thought would coordinate well with the page. There's some dictionary paper, there's some painty papers that have a little bit of shine to them. And those are just, things that I had in the book that I threw in there. And I'm going to make another focal image area over here that's similar to the other one with some flowers and some vertical and horizontal pieces. Because just one on that side made the whole other side look very bare. It's just empty. So I'm building, it's the same type of a collage situation on this side using different papers, but the same colors. The blues and the yellows and the golds and those type of colors. A little bit of greens maybe, because as I was blending the blue and the yellow paints together, I ended up with some green colors maybe. I thought I maybe wanted some circle shapes, but I think I ended up changing my mind on that and deciding not to use those. I think that's what happened. I don't think they're on there. I decided I just wanted to stick with the vertical and horizontal stripes. So I'm cutting some more. I'm gluing all these down with my permanent glue stick. This is an Elmer's Craft glue stick. All the products that I used in the video will be in the description box below the video, so that you can see what I used. And those links are to Amazon. If you purchase anything through those links, I get a few pennies, and it helps me to buy more art supplies to show you on my videos. I'm getting to the point now, after doing this process for a few years, that I'm really narrowing into things that I particularly like. I used to buy everything that I saw anybody ever use. Like, I want to try that. I want to try that. And I've got to the point now where I really am more resupplying the things that I like instead of buying new things. Although I do buy new things, but there hasn't really been any super great things that have come out lately, unfortunately. So these are paper flowers that I had in my book that I threw in at the last minute. And luckily I did, because I needed them for this page. I had no idea. And I'm coloring them with a combination of acrylic paint and Dina Wakley scribble sticks to make them the same types of colors as the background and the piece that was already made. Generally, I like things in odd numbers, and so I have 3 flowers now. You know, I've got the 1 on the left and the 2 on the right, so that it's more pleasing to the eye, in my opinion. I don't like just 2 of something. I think 3 looks better. So I'm going to apply these with my glue stick, and I've colored them yellow and blue to match the background, make everything blend together. Luckily, I brought my stick-on gems. They were a last-minute addition as well, but I don't remember why I threw them in, but I did. It's just like a Ziploc bag with a lot of different little pearl and gem things that you can stick down. And there was one on this other piece, and so it's lucky that I had one to apply to my other flowers. Very lucky, because I don't know what I would have done otherwise. I guess I would have made some paper centers for those flowers, I guess. So to finish this off, I think I do a lot of pen work, if I remember correctly. This was actually a couple weeks ago now, so you know, I saved the footage and I didn't edit it until now, so it's hard for me to remember what I did. Oh, that's right, Stabilo All Pencil. I decided it needed shadows and more dynamic interest by adding some black to the page. And so I use my Stabilo All Pencil and my water tank brush. This is a Pentel brand one. And go around my focal images and add just a bit of shadow. The water brush helps to blend the pencil. The pencil is a highly water reactive pencil, but it helps to define the area that those shapes are in. It helps to make them look like they're more part of the page, that they blend into the page, and just adds more interest. So I like to do that with the Stabilo All Pencil or any other water pencil, but in this case, the black was the most appropriate one. It's also the only one I had. Then here's my black Posca pen, acrylic pen. This is the fine tip, and I'm going around and making some scribbly marks around some of my stuff, and I'm having to write it onto the paper to make sure that I didn't break my pen by getting acrylic paint or glue on it, because once again, I don't have anything to dry this with, and so I don't want to get glue or paint onto the tips of my Posca pens, because that ruins them. It dries on there and it clogs it up, and then it's just ruined. So I decide my page needs one more thing, and what I want is some scribbly writing. I like scribbly writing, but I'm really bad at it. My writing just doesn't look all loopy and cool like some other people's. I need to work on it. So I decide to write my words onto a piece of deli paper and then attach that to the page rather than writing it directly onto the page. And that's for two reasons. One reason, I don't like my writing, and so I wanted to have a second chance if I didn't do a good job the first time. And then the other reason is that this isn't necessarily dry, and I don't want to write on there with my actual pen in case I might ruin the pen. So I write encourage love. What does it say? Encourage love, be in the present, um, something else. I don't know. You can read it. And then you can actually read it. See, the thing about scribbly, loopy writing is it's supposed to not be able to be read. But mine, you can still read it. So I need to do a better job of making it scribbly. I wanted it to be more of a design element and my own personal thoughts instead of something that's to be read, but you can definitely read it in my case. You'll be able to see in the pictures at the end. So I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you have, please remember to give it a thumbs up or leave me a comment or question below, or do both. Pin it, add it to your Facebook, any of those type of things that help other people find my channel who haven't found me yet. And of course, if this is your last video for today, you could do me a favor and click on a different video that has millions of views and subscribers so that I don't get punished for being the last video that you watched, because this is a social media network apparently. I did some splattering and some highlights with the white Posca pen, and that was pretty much the end of the video and the end of the page. And I'm trying to keep the table clean. Not my table, not my studio. So that's it for me. Thanks. Bye-bye.